Hey, you're watching CAD Roll Hunter, and today we're going to take a look at this little box of goodies. My antique dealer called me up. He said he had a box of coins. He thinks there's some valuable stuff in here, and he wanted my help to try to figure out what he's got. Let's dive in. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel CAD Roll Hunter, and I paid a visit to my buddy Tim, who's an antique dealer in Stratford, Ontario, because he said he had a box of coins. He didn't really know much about them, but he thinks there might be some valuable stuff in here. Some of it looks old, it could be ancient, there's some silver, and he's not a big coin guy, so he doesn't know a lot about this stuff. He knows the key dates for Canadian coins and things like that. But for a little box of coins like this, he wasn't sure. But some of these things looked pretty interesting, and I said I'd help him out. So what I'm going to do is dump this out. We're going to have a look. It looks like there's a lot of Chinese coins, perhaps, and I don't know much about them. So what we're going to do is use the Numista website to see if we can find out what they are, what they might be worth, and give Tim a hand and help him find out what he might sell them for. Maybe there's something I'd be interested in. You never know. Okay, well, let's dump this out and take a look. And there's some crumbs and some other stuff. And yeah, we can see that they're definitely from Asia. Absolutely, we can see some of those characters. And there's some things that don't look like coins, but Tim was pretty certain that some of these are ancient money, that they might have been shaped differently. We're going to try to see if we can find out. And there's definitely some silver in here too. There's a little piece there, and I thought I saw a big one in here. Yeah, this one here. That is not Chinese at all. That one looks to be Mexican. For sure, we're going to have to find out more about that one. Okay, I'm going to sort these out, and we'll take a look. Here is everything laid out. We got a lot of copper here. There are a couple of other pieces of silver and what might be nickel or copper nickel, and definitely a big chunk of Mexican silver. So that's the outlier. Everything else appears to be from China. Some of them actually say Republic of China. There's some 10 cash, 5 sen. And I don't know if they're all from China. They might be from that region. We're going to use the Numista website, which I pulled up, to try to see what we can find out. So if there are any Latin characters, like in Spanish here, some of these have some writing in English, we can use the search function in Numista to look them up to try to find out what they are. But Numista also has descriptions of all of the devices in English. So we might be able to type it out. If we put in dragon, we put China, we can probably narrow it down. And then there are some other tools on there that might help us find out what some of the Chinese characters say to help us determine where they're from, what the years are. But we're going to start with this big chunk of silver because I'm really curious, because this looks old, but I can't make out a date. So I'll throw it under the scope and see if we can see more about what this is, and we'll try to find it on Numista. So I couldn't quite make out the year on this, and we'll look a little bit more closely. It's 18 something, so it's very old, but I did type in Mexico, eagle, silver, and what I thought was the date 1837, and you can see that we've got a whole bunch of options that look pretty close to this one here, which is, we got the eagle with the snake, and then these rays. It says Libertad on there. So we'll do a little digging and see. I'll throw this under the scope and we'll get a closer look at that, what that date might be. All right, there it is. And that, I think, is definitely an 1837. You can see the shape of the 7 there, and that looks like the 3. So, but we'll see if we can find some pictures. We'll look at the 1837 in Numista and see if that does line up. There's a bunch of other writing and characters. There are initials on each of these issues that differ from year to year. So this one is OM, which might be helpful. So here's what we can see on the coin. This certainly says 8 reals. That's what the R stands for. Then we have a ZS, our date, which I think is 1837, and then OM. And if I look on the Numista chart for this date range, I can find an 1837 ZS OM listed as KM 37713. Tim might be onto something here. Look at the values for some of these. Now, these might be an AU or uncirculated. 1800, 310. The 1838 CAAM is $1,000 in an XF. This is not nearly in an XF, but this could be some valuable silver. But there's no value on here, which suggests it's not common enough to have sales data that might feed into Numista. So we're going to have to do a little bit of eBay sleuthing. Well, here we go on eBay. It looks like we've got some sales or some listings, 244, 195, 412. That's PCGS graded in an AU. 489, great detail, better than what we've got. If we look at the date on here, it does match up with what we have on our coin, just the characteristics of that 3 and the 7. So I think that is exactly what we've got. That is really, really cool. This is a different one. This is a CAAM for 2,500. But listings are, you can't really go by the listings. Anyone can post anything for any price and hope to get it. The best thing to do is check the sales, the sold items on eBay. And you can do that on eBay by just clicking on the left-hand side. We want sold items. We'll see if we have any matches. So no exact matches. Oh, this one is. This one sold for $64. This one sold for $95. They might be closer. That one is certified in XF details, $279. So this gives us a sense. That one is probably in, uncirculated mint state. So this gives us a sense that it's probably worth at least, $65, but maybe closer to $100. That's actually pretty cool. So, Tim was pretty correct. He's got some value here. Now about the Chinese stuff, we'll find out. I think I'll try these ones next because they actually say the Republic of China 10 cash. And this one here actually still has some mint luster. And look at the design on the back with those flags. That's pretty cool. So I think this one might be easier to locate in Numista because I can type that in and we'll see what the date ranges are and what the values might be for these. So I think I found it on Numista, and it's actually older than I thought. Here it is, 10 cash from 1920. And when I put it under the scope and I look at the image on Numista, everything lines up. All of the characters are what we have on this coin. So this coin, 10 cash from 1920 in remarkable condition with some mint luster still on it, is great. I'll check to see if all of these are the same. It's possible they could be from different issues or different years. There's a few different years where this design was used. 1912, I think, is another one. So I'm going to check and see. And you can see here, Numista lists this as a $14 coin in an VF condition. And this is probably better than that. These other ones might not be quite as good as that, but there's definitely some value there too. Really cool. Now this last one here is a little bit different. It's also 10 cash, but you'll see that it has some different characters in the middle. It looks to also be from 1920, and it's a commemorative of the founding of the Republic. So very cool. I don't see any values on that, but we can probably assume it's got a similar value perhaps than the other. I just did a search for 10 cash in Numista as I was looking up this other coin, but what I found was these coins here that look remarkably similar to the one that I've got here in my hand. And this is likely a 1 cash coin, and it could be from anywhere in the 16 or 1700s. So this could be very old. It's really hard for me to know whether something like this is just a replica or if it's real, but it looks like it might be real. And I've been scrolling through these images, and what I need to do is find one that has the characters that match. This looks to be different provinces, and these were produced for hundreds of years. You can see how many pages there are if I click the next page. They just go on and on. So I'm going to see if I can find what this one might be. And there aren't pictures for all of them, unfortunately, so we might miss it. But there are some sizes and in some cases some weights, so I can probably narrow it down. Well, I think I found it. I used my scale here to get a weight. It was 11 point something, and I used Numista's advanced search function. You can put in a weight range. I put in 11 to 12 grams, cash China, and look what I came up with. And that one there looks to have all of the same characters as this one. And this is 10 cash from Chongning. And if I scroll down on the page, It's from the years 1103 to 1105. Think about that. This coin is almost 1,000 years old. That is just crazy. And this larger one here, I have looked and I can't quite find it. So I don't know if it's legit. It may very well be, but I haven't been able to find examples with drawings. This might be a snake. I don't know if this is some sort of a cat. I don't know. So this may or may not be real. It's very interesting anyway, but that one is, I think, undoubtedly a legitimate ancient Chinese coin. So this piece here would be known as Chinese spade money. I couldn't find this one in Numista. I was able to use a Google Lens to do a search, and I found on the Coin Community Forum a discussion about this very piece. And the conclusion of everyone on here was that this is a modern replica, that this lion, more of a European type image of a lion, might have been either added to a legitimate piece of ancient Chinese spade money, or this is a cast replica of Chinese spade money from maybe the 1800s or 1900s. Either way, it's still pretty old and cool, but might not have any numismatic value. This piece here is a Chinese lock charm. This would have been something that would have been given by a parent to a child for good luck, prosperity, ward off death, long life, success, all those things that parents want for their children. And I was able to, again, use Google Lens to take a picture of it to identify what it is. I can't get any value. I don't know if it actually has any numismatic value. It's known as a numismatic charm, so it might have value as money. Wikipedia, which I pulled up here, indicates that these were typically made of silver, but poorer families might have given their children one made of brass, which looks to be what this one is here. So probably not going to attribute any value to that at all, but that's pretty interesting what you can learn with all the tools at our fingertips now with the internet. Now, Tim thought that this piece of jade here might have been a numismatic item, some kind of form of money, but my research indicates this is probably just a pendant. This might be a couple of birds and a flower. Having said that, it does appear to be valuable. These seem to be going on eBay and other sites for north of $100 for just a little pendant like this. So Tim, there's some value here for sure. It's just not my cup of tea. This little guy here definitely has the likelihood that it's going to be a one cash coin from hundreds of years ago. Perhaps it might be difficult for me to identify it. The markings seem to be obscured with some damage, some corrosion, but definitely an ancient Chinese coin. This one here is 20 cash. It says Hu Pu on the top here. It's got a dragon and some Chinese characters. Numista tells me this is from 1902 and probably is worth a few bucks. And I mean literally like $3. But this one's pretty worn. So if it was in an uncirculated condition, of course, that would be great. But we have a number that have similar artwork on here, and they're not quite as large, so we'll take a look at these guys too. This guy here is from Anhui province. It is 10 cash. It is from 1902 to 1906, and Numista allows me to identify some of these. This one has 5 characters at the bottom. There's another version that has 2, so this is definitely what I have. And there's some varieties here. In here, the small English legend, 3 clouds below the dragon's tail, which we can see on this diagram here. And that's what we have if I look at this, those 3 little clouds. So this one in this condition probably maybe just worth $1. So it seems that most of these coins are going to be from about the same era. This is from Kirin province, and it's 10 cash. And Numista tells me there's a variety where there is a dash between 10 and cash. We don't have that. This is the more common one, but from 1905. So we've got some over 100-year-old Chinese coins. Really cool. So there are a few more here. They all seem to be very similar design. I'm going to expect that they're, maybe worth $1 each. These ones are all actually in pretty poor condition. We got a couple of silver I'm going to look up. I can read some Latin characters on here. Province. So I'll figure out what province that is. We'll see what these might be worth. So Numista does it again. I've figured out this is 10 fen, and this is from Kirin province. It is has a value of 7.2 candarines. That's the weight, I guess. It's silver. It doesn't tell me what the purity is. And if I scroll down, it actually shows me the Chinese characters that relate to the year. So if I flip my coin over and look at these characters on the left and the right, I can see on numista that relates to, let's see which one. It's going to be 1906, which makes this sort of contemporary to all the other coins that we have here. Seems somebody was in China over 100 and almost 120 years ago and probably picked up almost all of these coins. So this one is a bit different. This is from Japan, but it's from about the same time. This is from 1904, according to numista, 10 sen, and it's 80% silver. So somebody was traveling in the region at around about that time. These three coins are Japanese, also 5 sen, and these are the oldest of the Asian coins so far. These ones here are from 1890, 1893, and 1897, respectively. And of course, what I'm doing is looking at the Japanese characters here, and numista has this handy little chart where I can see exactly what the year is based on the information on the coin, which is really cool. This one here is copper nickel. It is also Japanese 5 sen. Doesn't have any Latin characters on it, but this one is newer. This is newer. It's 1922, so it's still over 100 years old, and it looks to be in really nice condition. And this is another Japanese one, 1 sen. This one is from 1920, and so this one is bronze, and there's one more coin that I missed that I will take another peek and see if I can identify it. Again, no Latin characters for me to type in numista. I'm also trying Google Lens for some of these to see if I can find an image that matches. That's very helpful as well. And this last guy, a chunky piece of copper here. So this ends up being 10 cash from China, particularly from the Sichuan province, and it's from 1912, minted at over 100 million, so pretty common, but not so common here in Canada. We got all sorts of really cool stuff here in this little lot here. So I will report back to Tim and let him know that he's got some things, probably a mix of things that might be worth $1 a piece. Some of the silver, of course, is going to have a bit more value. Some of this copper nickel, not so much. The most valuable piece, I think, in here is going to be this big chunky piece of silver from the 1830s from Mexico, but the only coin that wasn't from China or Japan, so pretty neat. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little video. Something different, helping out a friend to kind of find out what he's got. He wasn't a coin guy, as I said, so I said I would be really interested to look through a lot of coins. Even though they're not mine, it's always fun to do some research, learn about some new stuff, find out what's out there, what might be valuable, what might be not so valuable. But these are all a piece of interesting history. And so I love, love, love looking through stuff like this. And I hope you do too, and seeing some things that you might not normally see in your coin roll hunts or you're collecting, wherever it is that you are. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.